My second reading, because it's me, is from Hafiz. How did the rose ever open its heart and give to the world all its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. Carl Jung said this: one doesn't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And I believe this to be an essential truth, so I'm going to say it again. One doesn't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So that's the lens through which we're going to explore the Psalms and Psalms, for you people that don't speak Scottish, and Yom Kippur. So let's start. I'm going to read to you a wonderful setting of the Psalms that I'm creating a podcast for Abbey of the Arts right now, and I'm the narrator. They wanted a Scottish or an Irish voice, and there's these amazing settings of the Psalms by Christine Robinson that they're asking me to read. This is Psalm 8. Many named one beyond imagining. When I contemplate the night sky, the cosmos, which all unfolded from a speck, galaxies, stars, this beautiful earth, who are we humans that you attend to us? Mere mortals in our tiny corner, and you love us? We are life come to knowing and feeling. The whole world is in our hands. Plants and animals, oceans and ice caps, rainforests, atmosphere and ecosystem. Touch our hearts, O God. Make us worthy of this trust. Help us to care for life on this beautiful earth. Touch our hearts, O God. Make us worthy of this trust. Help us care for life on this beautiful earth. We need that psalmist cry. It's about worthiness, which is actually our birthright. So I'm going to jump into Adam and Eve for a second here. So we know God created the world and it was good. In the Adam and Eve story, the story about God creating the world and that it was good, when humans first acquired knowledge of good and evil, they didn't behave in good and evil. They acquired knowledge, which I think was language, and a mind that differentiated them from the cosmos. And in the early years, I just wrestled with the horrible curse to Eve and how the humans were cast out, and it just seemed such a god that I didn't want to believe in. And then I started looking at it more metaphysically. And today I want to focus on a detail that I had completely missed in this story. So, in the Adam and Eve story, when the humans began to notice that they were different, they got the knowledge of good and evil, they felt ashamed and they hid from their Maker. And the very first thing that God actually does to fix this situation is make them clothes. Seamstress. God takes the role of the seamstress and makes clothing so that then humans could appear and allow themselves to be seen. There's so much about shame and learning that we're not worthy, that I think we learn that by seeing our actions, not just from what other people teach us. So that metaphor of standing naked before your God and not being able, Adam and Eve were not able to stand naked before their God, is so powerful. So powerful for me. A few of you don't know that I'm a transgender person. I was born as a girl. 20 years ago, I changed genders. And my clothes became very important in readdressing this shame and discomfort that I felt in not appearing masculine, that people misunderstood my gender. But it's so much more than shame and gender. This is about the layers that we place on ourselves to try and make things okay, when actually God is forgiveness. There's no need whatsoever for Adam and Eve to put the clothes on. It's just a crutch for them so that they can be seen, so that they can connect once again with God. So we humans have a fundamental attribution error. Truth in its highest sense is not often discerned, and we rely heavily on right and wrong instead. And often this is called sin. I don't like it when people talk about right and wrong as sin, because sin is an archery term, and it means to stray from the mark. It means to lose your path. And Father Keating, who I've been listening to audiobooks of recently, in talking about centering prayer, he talks about the fall or sin as the human condition. That human condition that we are programmed to know love and beauty and truth. But then we come out into our world and we see lesser examples of it, and we normalize that. And our vision becomes small. And here we are. Okay, that's the theory aside. What do we do about the fact that collectively we are not living up to the love, abundance, and freedom that we are granted as adult children of God? All these years later, we're still wearing our clothes. Well, clearly I need to, because it's autumn in Vermont, and I don't know what I think maybe you might not ask me back next week if I was in no clothes doing the live stream. I'm talking metaphorically here. Here we are covering up things with success and possessions and worth. We're creating worth around us to try and still deal with the fact that there's something in us that doesn't feel worthy, that is a lie. Our birthright is that we are part of this earth, this cosmos, that all unfolded from a speck. I need to stop hoarding possessions and damaging the planet, dressing in more layers of stuff to try and be well in the world. I need to focus and pray, and that's what Yom Kippur, which we're about to talk about, is all about. None of us want to contribute to this racist economy and system. None of us want to continue melting the ice caps and for species to go extinct. It's an ugliness that wrecks us, and actually that wrecking and that worthlessness and that fear that we feel around us becomes a barrier between us. It's part of the clothing that we need to learn to take off so that we can meet God in truth and be seen fully. So this weekend, I'm going back there as soon as church is over. I'm going to go back to the land where there's ceremony happening. It's a bunch of young, queer, punk kids that have bought some land. And they're trying to live in a collective way, but they're also trying to honor the fact that this is Abenaki. I'm in Vermont, so the tribal people are the Abenaki tribe. And they're trying to not be colonists when they have that blood on their white hands. That's what we're praying about today in the context. And also a lot of these, they're like at least a decade younger than me. These folk are very Jewish inspired. There's a large Jewish presence in the radical scene, in the punk scene, in the queer scene, here and also in Washington, actually, to be honest. So as I'm there in prayer around the bonfire, breathing in a bunch of copal and sage smoke, and I'm thinking, do I have anything in my toolkit as an spiritual minister that will be remotely useful to these young people? Do I have anything useful from my Celtic Christian tradition, or what I've learnt about the other spiritual traditions, or even my own prayers? And I've been thinking about it because repentance is not really what they want, but right and wrong. They don't like the concept of a God that judges or might send you to hell. I don't like that concept either. But there are some things that I was sharing with them about spiritual hygiene, honest confession, and repatterning. And I think that repatterning is what Yom Kippur, the highest holy day in the Jewish tradition, is all about. Traditionally, it's the day of atonement. Well, actually, there's 10 days from the start of it, Rosh Hashanah, up till today, where you take stock of your year. It's the end of the Jewish year, the start of the new year. And you look at your behaviors, and are they good before God? And what are you going to do about the ones that are not? But it's not just about a reckoning, it's also about taking time out from everyday life. 10 days is a lot to take out. I've only taken a weekend. But I tell you, in doing that, and in having an actual physical fire that was made from flint, that was tended with great care, and an expectation that I will say my prayers out loud even though they don't like the word God. So here I am at the fire with my Celtic cross in my hands, praying for the ways that I have contributed towards that ugly side of Christianity that tells other people they're wrong. And that side of me that has contributed to racism and many things that steal light from others. And this process, I think, is really, really important because it's a taking off of the layers of the ego until we're actually just left with me and God in the fire. And because I can't just magically, through Zoom, I mean, my friends who are very COVID aware would have a fit if I showed up with somebody else in my car. But because I can't magic you there, I've been really thinking about a beautiful tradition that I do know about for Yom Kippur are the Psalms. Singing the Psalms. It's a really big part of the Christian tradition. And rather than continue to talk about my experience of atonement or making right or being honest, on which I call spiritual hygiene as well, this dismantling of the ego of this is right and wrong, and where I put myself down is not worthy and where I think I'm righteous. Rather than tell you how I do that, I thought I would just share some of the Psalms with you. So the first one, I think I have a slide for. It is the song I sing most often. Let me see if I've got one. I do. So I'm going to share, let me go back to Zoom here. Share my screen so that you can read along. I'm going to sing it twice because we're supposed to be praying right now and not talking about it. So the first time, just get to know it, and the second time, see if there's a word that jumps out. God, you search me and you know me. All my thoughts lie open to your gaze. When I walk or lie down, you are before me. Ever the maker and keeper of my days. You know my resting and my rising. You discern my purpose from afar. And with love everlasting you beseech me. In every moment of life or death you are. Before a word is on my tongue, Lord, you have known its meaning through and through. You are with me beyond my understanding, God of my present, my past and future too. Although your spirit is upon me, still I search for shelter from your light. There is nowhere on earth I can escape you. Even the darkness is radiant in your sight. For you created me and shaped me, gave me life within my mother's womb. For the wonder of who I am, I praise you. Safe in your hands, all creation is made new. So now maybe a good way of describing this would be, pretend you're a little kid and you can't read, and I'm singing you a story, and just listen to the story and see if there's a word that jumps out. Oh God, you search me and you know me. All my thoughts lie open to your gaze. When I walk or lie down, you are before me, ever the maker and keeper of my days. You know my resting and my rising. You discern my purpose from afar, and with love everlasting you beseech me. In every moment of life or death you are. Before a word is on my tongue, Lord, you have known its meaning through and through. You are with me beyond my understanding, God of my present, my past and future too. Although your spirit is upon me, still I search for shelter from your light. There is nowhere on earth I can escape you. Even the darkness is radiant in your sight. For you created me and shaped me, gave me life within my mother's womb. For the wonder of who I am, I praise you. Safe in our hands, all creation is made new. So, if you feel like it, you can write in the chat function which phrase jumped out, or not. I just want to hold that. So if he writes gaze, Jane, in all of life and death you are. Rest, keeper, shelter. Susan said, shaped. Mel and Kathy, one of these two, probably Kathy, hold me and keep me. Leanne wrote, spirit and discern. Matt had the same words I did, know my words before I do. Our deep intention, you know, our ego mind is really important. I really batter it a lot when I'm preaching, but our personality is meant to be, and we can use that to co-create. It's part of the spiritual maturity, but it's not the only voice in us. Safe. Phyllis writes, safe. Mm-hmm. I'm going to change gears a little bit now. I'm going to go into one of the Psalms, Psalm 51, and I'm going to send a link to this being sung in Aramaic by Father Seraphim, because it's one of the best things on YouTube. It's a prayer. I'm going to read it in English and not sing it. But it's the one about hyssop, getting hyssop and self-flagellation, and it's being used really badly in the Christian tradition to prove that we're not worthy. My premise, just to remember this, is that we are worthy, but we lose attunement to that. So here is Psalm 51 from my favorite adaptation of the Psalms, which is by Nan Merrill. A few of you are nodding. Kathy's nodding. It's quite long. Only going to read it once. But it's a really good one for working about our honest limitations. Confession. Have mercy on me, O gracious one, according to your steadfast love, according to your abundant kindness. Forgive me when my thoughts and deeds have hurt others. Lead me in the path of justice. Guide my steps on paths of peace. Teach me that I may know my weaknesses, the shortcomings that bind me, the unloving ways that separate me, that keep me from recognizing your life in me. For I keep company with fear and dwell in the house of ignorance. Yet I was brought forth in love, and love is my birthright. You have placed your truth in the inner being. Therefore, teach me the wisdom of the heart. Forgive all that binds me in fear, that I may radiate love. Cleanse me, that your light might shine in me. Fill me with gladness. Help me to transform weakness into strength. Look not on my past mistakes, but on the aspirations of my heart. Create in me a clean heart, O gracious one, and put a new and right spirit within me. Enfold me in the arms of love, and fill me with your Holy Spirit. Restore in me the joy of your saving grace, and encourage me with a new spirit. Then I will teach others your ways, and prisoners of fear will return to you. Deliver me from the addictions of society. O healer of souls, keep me from temptation, that I may tell of your justice and mercy. O gracious one, open my lips, and my mouth shall sing forth your praise. For you do not want sacrifice. You delight in friendship with you. A sacrifice most appropriate is a humble spirit, a repentant and contrite heart. O merciful one, receive our gratitude and love. Let the nations turn from war and encourage one another as good neighbors. O blessed and compassionate friend, melt our hearts of stone, break through the fears that lead us into darkness, and guide our steps toward the way of peace. Psalm 51. There's another reason that I want us to honor Yom Kippur, to take time. I also talk about this on Ash Wednesday, around Ash Wednesday, and whenever I have the opportunity. Because, let me get this quote just right. Father Richard Rohr says, if you don't transform your suffering, you will transmit it. If you don't transform your suffering, you will transfer it to the next. And that's what my friends, the punk kids, are trying to do, to repattern the system. And I don't believe we can do it unless we do it as a sacred task, because the enormity of inheritance of millions of lives of genocide and the horrors of torture, of slavery, are just enormous. There's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do that could atone for that. But this isn't Simon's world, this is God's world. God doesn't dish out mercy, God is mercy. So if we can rest in that, if we can do our true work with the Psalms. I'm preaching again. I said I wasn't going to preach. Here's one more. This is I took this book and took Psalm 130 and set it to music, and this is I love Leonard Cohen, so it's got a little bit of Leonard Cohen style in it. Any Leonard Cohen fans out there? And there's an antiphon. I have mixed feelings about antiphons. So the Christians took the Psalms and then they put a Christian message, a lens on them. And one of the ways that they do that is by singing a very catchy little Christian message at the start and at the end. So I like the idea of having a catchy refrain because I'm a musician, but I decided to use the Jewish words. I wait for you, my Lord, my soul waits for you, more than watchmen wait for the morning to come. You can sing that with me if you want. I wait for you, my Lord, my soul waits for you, more than watchmen wait for the morning to come. Out of the depths I call to you, in your mercy hear my prayer. If you should number the times we stray from you, oh beloved, who would be left to stand and face you? Yet you are ever ready to forgive, that we might be healed and refreshed anew. I wait for you, my soul waits, for in your love I would live. I wait for you, my Lord, my soul waits for you, more than watchmen wait for the morning to come. My soul awaits the beloved, as one awaits the birth of a child. I hold my life before you, for your purpose and truth to fill. O sons and daughters of the light, welcome the heart within your heart. Then you will climb the sacred mountain of truth, and you will know mercy and love in abundance. Then will your transgressions melt like snow, and you will know the oneness of all. I wait for you, my Lord, my soul waits for you, more than watchmen wait for the morning to come. I wait for you, my Lord, my soul waits for you, more than watchmen wait for the morning to come. If you don't transform your suffering, you will transmit it. Lao Tzu says this: quietly go to work on your own self-awareness. If you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. Take what is useful in what I've shared and throw away the rest. The Psalms work beautifully for me in stripping off those layers of who I think I am so that I can meet my God in a candle quietly in my prayer. But for you, it could be something completely different. Whatever it is, do that work. And then your actions will shine forth with a love that is bigger than you are.